guess you could look at structural racism and compare it to something like a bad vintage. It's been aged in silence, passed around in power, and it leaves a bitter aftertaste that we can't ignore. We're at the time now where we just need to uncork the truth. I can drink to that.
I can drink to that, where I have a bunch of questions and my panelists have a lot of answers. Hopefully, we're gonna try to do this. We're gonna try to do this this thing with some kind of fairness. And can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. With some kind of fairness and unbiased way of getting to this. So the first thing we're gonna jump right into this is the Trump and Musk interview 2 nights ago. Was it 2 nights ago? Where Elon Musk declared that retroactively 1 billion people actually listened to this or viewed it or however they want to do it. But the three of us, we are tech professionals and we understand that views online are not like views on TV. So that may have amounted to about 21,000 people, 25,000 people looking at it over a span of about 5 minutes before they disconnected. So my question, what did everybody think about this first? Okay. And does it move the needle for either Musk or Trump? And whoever wants to go first could be on the clock.
I want to say no. A lot of the things right now that I think they're messing up on, standing on more of a neutral standpoint with this, is the messaging doesn't seem to motivate those that are in the middle or those that are trying to decide to vote. It just seems like it's a lot of more so, not misogyny, but very much of a narcissist conversation amongst peers. And I don't think they're actually hitting the mark with moving the needle for getting anyone to vote. So right now it's going to be a problem for them because he has just a problem with staying on topic and answering questions that are directly related to the issues at hand.
If you can sit there and lie, what he did a press conference where you could do 160 plus lies in one thing, it's like what Mike says. He just never, it's always turned to some kind of insult within his answer. Oh, she's this or she's that, and some kind of name calling in between. So, we know his followers and they don't fact check him. They just listen to his words and just think it is what it is. I don't know how they look at him as a leader, especially, and then you got an immigrant and a second generation immigrant talking about immigration. So it's not positive. And to me, if I was a Republican, like I said, this wouldn't shine or reflect who I am as a person. So no, it's to copy what Mike said. It doesn't do anything. It was a waste of time.
Before we roll, go ahead.
So the pieces that I did listen to before I had to click that off button is just waste of time. Go ahead.
Before we roll into the next topic, do you guys think that there was a bit of billionaire bro love going on?
Well, I heard, and I didn't get because it's hard for me to follow this stuff right now. I heard he went right behind it and talked bad about him.
But so isn't he doing like $45K to his pack every month?
No, 45. It's 45 million to the pack every month. I mean, but I think there's a lot of numbers going around. Elon said that he wasn't doing that, not this week, but last week. But they're still circulating the rumor that he actually is. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what's going on with that. We won't see until they release the next set of numbers for fundraising, I think. The FEC.
Yeah, so it's kind of a hit or miss. I don't know if he really means anything that he's standing on or that he's saying.
Yeah, I don't get that. But rolling out of two people who claim to be patriotic, we're gonna go to a person that actually performed for her country, Jordan Childs, who is now being they're demanding the bronze medal back because of the challenge that was it Romania? Was it Romania that made that inquiry?
Yeah, it was about 4 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, but the question is, she's an accomplished gymnast anyway. The question is, it's a piece of metal. Do you make a person return the medal that she has around her neck to say that she returned the bronze medal, even though you're gonna give somebody else a different molded bronze medal when you actually award that bronze medal to the person that won it?
I say you give the credit to Flavor Flav for making her the bronze clock to replace it. And they said those things are so poorly made anyways. It'll probably go through appeal and she'll end up winning it again. So I think they got a bad move by doing that. I just don't know if it really made sense how that aligned up.
Especially after they claim, oh, she was 4 seconds from making the appeal. When the appeal was done right. Like really 4 seconds. 4 seconds.
Well, the U.S. has videotape that says that didn't happen. So I'm thinking, like Mike, I'm thinking that eventually she's gonna be awarded that medal, but it's gonna be with a lot less fanfare, and most likely with some kind of asterisk against it, saying this was a contested medal. Sort of like 68 Olympics when the boys got the medals taken away from them when they pumped the left fist with the black glove. So I don't know. Starbucks.
I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all.
I definitely don't like it. We're gonna turn to Starbucks, and I'm probably gonna talk about this a little while after y'all get finished. So they changed CEOs. The reason they say they changed CEOs, partly because of inflation, partly because of the long waits, partly because of inflated prices of their own products, and losing customers to local coffee shops because of cheaper prices. Will Brian Nickel, who is the new guy that came over from Chipotle, will he be the change that they need, or did Starbucks find out, just like every other corporation during this time period, that people are still going to pay for the drinks and they're still going to make record profits?
I don't drink coffee and I don't even really like Starbucks, but I don't see people just moving away from it. And I don't know how that brand is going to just die down. It seems somewhat far-fetched to me. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to pull it all back together. I'm definitely excited to see somebody. It's just for the sake of business, that's like an art of war kind of thing. I'm excited to see him come in and do what he says he's going to do. But I mean, are they that bad where people are like, I'm waiting so long, I'm not going to come there? Or is it they're waiting so long and they could be making more revenue because people might have to rush off during that time frame or something? So I didn't understand what was going on.
I'm going to get to it. I'm going to let Dante get to it.
No, I'm going
to give my take.
I want you to give your take first, because every Starbucks that I drive by, whether it's in Leon County, Broward County, or in freaking Central Florida, it's always a line wrapped around the building during peak hours of the day. So there's still a for lack of a better term, a cult following for the product. Me personally, I don't like it. My wife loves the shit. But she go get one of them caramel macchiato, almond milk, espresso, light foam, with a sprinkle drizzle, with a drizzle on it. Excuse me, I can't use almond milk, coconut milk, and the cake pops or whatever the overpriced cake pops at Starbucks. But I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. I mean, of course, a lot of CEOs have inflated their salaries. That's where the inflation come in from. But the product's still gonna sell itself.
So y'all know I go to Starbucks. I'm there all the time.
Yeah.
I don't go there. Okay, so I go there for the coffee. I never get coffee drinks though. So I'm always drinking just regular black coffee, whatever it is. I get a Pike, I get the Veranda, I get the blonde, which I think is I can't even remember what that blonde roast is. But from what I've seen, and this is I think okay, so before I even get to that, this is the third CEO they've had in like 2.5 years, maybe third in 3 years or something like that. But from what I've seen, especially with the lines that you see, there is a cycle of the lines, right? So you have a real early line, 6:30, those people coming through. Mm-hmm. Then you have that 9 o'clock line, then you have that 12 o'clock line, and then you have a line that, after work. And then when you have 2-for-1s or the double points or the triple points, you have lines on those days. The problems that I've seen with the lines, and it's a different problem of how it is with a traditional fast food restaurant, is that you never have enough workers for whenever it does get like that. Okay, so you may see lines at the normal times, and they're always trying to prepare for those normal crowds. But if people come in off schedule, there's never enough people in there. It's already not enough people in there for the line times. And it might be 8 people in there. The way that Starbucks does their work is a person who is on cleaning duty, even though they are a barista, can't go make coffee or drinks for somebody. They got to do what they're doing. The person at the window has to do what they're doing. The person that's on cold brew got to do what they're doing. The person that's on the front row, they're really only able to do the regular drip coffees or just straight coffees or cold brew if it's just cold brew and nothing else added to it. And then you have the people with the specialty orders, okay? The people that come in and they got to have a half pump of 5 different syrups. They got to have light foam, not heavy foam, light cream, not heavy cream. They got to have a splash. I saw a woman come in one day and said that she could actually taste that they put 2 splashes of some vanilla syrup. I ain't talking about pumps. I'm talking about splash. So this a person has to physically sit there and say, I'm gonna see I got my hand over this. This is the splash. And I'm like, you can't taste food. I'm looking. I'm sitting at the high table. You can't taste that shit, man. Really? That's what we doing. And but look, you have shit like food. They got to make the food. The only person that can make the food is the person that's by the food. Got me? If they catch them off guard and they only got 3 people on duty, which they normally do, it's usually 3 or 4 people on duty at any given time. If you catch them off guard, the one person that's taking the order at the windows there, you got one person making the fraps, the frappuccinos. You got one person doing the food, other person at the register. How you gonna get your coffee made if 60 people show up in line? It's not gonna work.
So basically, they have a project management issue internally.
Well, I mean, it would be something for people like us to go in and be like, okay, this is, if we can figure this shit out, this is like the model for all fast food places.
You have 2 people per station.
How do we fix this? How do we fix this logistics problem with the people? How do we do this? How do you keep enough people on staff where you're not losing money per shift because you're paying more salary out than you getting product out? You get what I'm saying?
So it sounds like you would have to simplify the process of what people can and can't order.
Yes. Get these motherfuckers through the line. No, you cannot have a splash of vanilla syrup. And no, you can't have 50 add-ons.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about because he's the guy coming in from Chipotle, right? So yeah, with Chipotle, you can't make all those different things and those different requests. You got to come in and do what you want, and that's it.
That is it, and it's a lot less complicated. I like Moe's better because you got more stuff, but Chipotle is a lot less complicated. You go on Chipotle, you get what you get because you can't get nothing else.
It's 5 items on the menu.
That's it. That's it. And I think that's the way to go about that. But yeah, sitting in Starbucks, man, it can be nerve wracking because you watching people that are actually working hard, right? You know, they get a bad rap about who they serve and how they serve, but you see them running back and forth, and I'm in there so much that I got relationships with 3 different sets of Starbucks stores around here. I can go to a bunch of these stores. People know me by name because I'm in there, and you watch what's going on. You know that they are already limited because of how Starbucks staffs the stores. And then you also know that they have to abide by all of these half pump, cream, whatever, instead of just getting the drink how it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the drink got this in it. This is what we got to fix. This is all you can get. If you're going to do an add-on, we got to really charge you because they don't charge a lot for add-ons. It's like a quarter for certain things, 50 cents for other things. But, you know, you got people that come in there, they regulars, they have drinks made that's not even on the menu. They got specialty drinks these people are being made. And just imagine 15 or 20 of them people coming in like that. I took too much time on talking about Starbucks.
You love Starbucks. Black economic empowerment.
Yeah, we're going to black empowerment. Now, so there's not a question about this. I want to know, the question was posed to me. I guess this will be a question after I'm finished. Question was posed to me on how do we get our money to keep circulating through our neighborhoods with our businesses before it goes back outside the neighborhood. Because I think right now, what's the number? It's 6 hours of circulation now for us, and it's about 21 days for Asians at the very top of the list. Or is that Jews? Is that Jewish? I can't remember. I think it's Jewish. It's 21 days.
I know they had the largest, and then it's 28, 21, 12, and then 6 hours for us.
And then the 6 hours. Okay, yeah. So my question is, and this is, you don't have to be in depth with the answer. If you had to pick 2 to 5 things that you would do in sequence, what would you do to spur, to consolidate growth? Now, and this is already considering that you have talked to the community and the community is behind what you are doing. So this say that you've already knocked that out the way, because I don't want you to, because I know we'll have to come up with some kind of cohesive plan for that too. But this considering that you've already talked to business leaders and you've gotten buy-in from political people and from the neighborhood itself, consumers, that kind of thing. Hey, we're gonna make an effort to try to rebuild and reestablish strong economic ties inside our community. Somebody can take that.
What things would we need to rebuild?
Well, not rebuild. Just where would you start? I won't use rebuild. Where would you start? What, hypothetically?
I mean, you want to do banking.
Okay.
And I would say you probably want to focus on like grocery stores, a grocery store chain, maybe just some of your basic supplies where the money stays longer. So like, what are the things people have to buy every day? So groceries, banking, and gas stations.
Gas stations. I thought about that. Yeah.
And because everything else, you know, beauty salons, we spend a lot of money there and we don't own hardly any of those. So that would be a big thing. But I would probably say banking and beauty salon. Banking, gas stations, groceries, and restaurants. And then maybe after that, you would get into your other services that are more so needed for essentials, plumbing, electrical.
HVAC.
Yeah. That would be my immediate plan of action.
My immediate plan of action, besides that list, is changing mentality, performing a good service, spend the money. You spend the same amount with other vendors. Spend the same money with the black vendor. Show up on time. We got to show up. We provide a service, or we there. We got to be on time. Be on time with appointments. It goes with the banking. Goes with cosmetology services, stuff like that. Those will aid in keeping the dollar in our community longer. Because for example, you go to a lot of these restaurants, just using them as examples, they got extremely long wait times. But if you go to other people's restaurants, the wait time is truncated because of these particular items. It's like you can't Starbucks an item. You gotta just come down to simple Chipotle the item. So,
right. So you mean limit the amount of services that are offered,
or just be direct with the services. I mean, it's you can go tit for tat, or you can go back and forth. Again, I'm just kind of keeping it global with my response. Adding,
I like it. I'm just trying to understand that. I like it though. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just we need to we can't have a cheesecake menu of services. We need to have the Guthrie's of menus, the Chipotle's of menus, short, sweet, to point. And that will keep the services quicker and the retention there. But anyway, that's my opinion.
No, but you keep with your thought. I was just gonna add. I heard you say. I think the number one thing behind all of that would be the quality part that you're saying. If you are gonna offer it, do it with a smile on your face and some quality behind it.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
if that's what you're gonna do. If you're gonna be in business, just be in business.
People like to go say. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I mean, people like to go to Chick-fil-A all the time and say, "Hey, thanks for coming by. Have a good day." All that little Rasta Jaja love stuff for Chick-fil-A people give, they go back for that.
It works.
It works.
I'm gonna play advocate here. I'm just gonna question it from another side. Does that withstand with the way that we're treated in other areas and how we're treated? That's actually the thing that matters the most.
What you mean? You talking about the niceties and stuff like that?
Yeah, or just even sometimes, like you said, paying the same amount, but do we also hold the same standards for the quality of service?
That's what I said. We got to keep that same. We got to also make sure our quality of service matches.
I'm not talking about the positive though. I'm talking about the actual negative. I'm looking at this the other way. I'm saying we go other places where they make mistakes. We've had this conversation, but we have the conversation in a different way. How many times are we in a position where we go through something where we have more tolerant of another business class than we are of our own people? Sometimes we can be our worst enemy. So it's like, okay, well, we expected this from them and we didn't get this, but you went to another location and they did you dirtier, but you still go back. So
that's for you.
I hear people talk about
I mean,
like we talk about it like a barbecue spot, little hole in the wall barbecue spot, and we go to the hole in the wall barbecue spot and this was wrong, we'll never go back. How many times have you went to McDonald's where they messed up your orders? How many times have you went back to Starbucks after they messed up your order? How many times have you went to Burger King? So is it that we have a less tolerance? And you can actually remove race from this, but do we have less tolerance for small businesses than we do large corporations?
I think we are definitely influenced that way. I don't know if it's one of those things where you're a kid and you watch adults do it and it's learned behavior, but we definitely are influenced to not the smaller business as opposed to something that looks like it may be a chain or looks like it's better than what the smaller business would give, even though the smaller business may taste just as good, may even give you better service, but you still look at the larger chain or the larger store or the perceived value of that larger store as something better than what it is you can get in the neighborhood. I don't know. It's a hypothetical for me because when the question came up, the the actual defense was, well, man, we black people are making plenty of money inside of there. I don't know why a guy would say nobody wants to buy black. And I was like, I'm not saying nobody wants to buy black. I'm saying there's not enough people buying black. Right? So there are people, we do spend money with black businesses, but I think if that number is something like 3 to 4% of the total spending that's going on, even though we spend the most as a cultural unit, we still not spending all that money inside of the community. So if you did want to go and without having to re-educate somebody every time they went to a black business about the benefits of buying black, what would you do to not have to educate them on the buying black? So how would you start in a community? I ain't talking about you. I'm just talking about how this whole question came up.
Oh yeah, that's why I was going to kind of get into that, because I'm wondering,
go ahead.
do we actually spend at the capacity? Because I've never really dug into it. I've always heard the stat, and I've always kind of taken it for what it's worth. Where are we showing that we spend at that capacity versus everybody else?
You talking about our GDP?
Yeah, where's it?
Well, the GDP is, that's just based on what we're paying for. So if we're paying for groceries, entertainment, hair.
I get
gas,
that, but is our
stuff,
GDP? We have, like you said, culture. We have one of the largest cultural GDP.
No, we have a cultural GDP as just spending power. Period. Not spending the community. I was telling him that our spending power is large, but our spending power inside our spending footprint inside the community is small.
Yeah, I would like to know what our spending footprint compares to the other ethnicities. Like, I think the part that I've never seen in the study, kind of going off on the tangent, but I just think it's good because all of us like data. What does it look like if you have, when we say how long the dollars rotate, right? We do that part. But I wish somebody would chart it down a different way, right? So this is how long the dollar rotates, but this is the median income within those same ethnicities, right? This is the amount of investments, money spent by the government to these same communities. These are the funds, because we know almost everybody you name at some point received money from the government. Yeah. Like large payouts. What did that look like? How much money is spent overall within those communities? Like, I wish the percentages broke it down. Like, if the Hispanic community, if it stays in their community for 11 days or whatever, but how much money are they spending? How much money are they putting into the GDP? I just wish I wish the depth of that dollar continues to have more detail.
Yeah.
I just would like to see the rest of it.
I don't even know if they go to that detail. That's probably another study that we probably could work on at some point when we got time. But that would be a good number to find out, or a good set of numbers, because now you're talking about 6 or 7 different indicators now.
Because I think then if we get into those indicators, now you have a story that you can tell in a different way, where it's like, okay, this is what we have to do to make a change.
Yeah.
Because just this hypothetical example here, because it could be like our median income is lower because we spending more of our income into the money going into our neighborhood, but we didn't get any subsidies from the federal government, X, Y, and Z. Like, so it could change that. It could change that number or change that amount of our median income. So totally get you, and totally with that, Michael.
Yeah, because you basically could turn that, all of the census numbers will probably have to tie back into that too.
Right, or could it change? Could you now have a thing to show? I'm sorry if I'm jumping to your other topic, or actually it's from your book. You now have the way to show the systematic racism. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So could the data actually show where they've driven a community that actually spends more, produces more, and is trying harder, but because they never got that boost, they were never able to level out? You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what's happening, but we just have to prove that by the numbers. That's happening though.
Right, and I think it'd be so much it's so much deeper if you show it by the numbers, because
Yeah.
now it becomes a data
Actually,
thing.
get our reparations, y'all. We'll get our reparations.
Well,
We
it
ain't
would
gonna get no reparations.
but actually, if it wasn't reparations, it would be a justifiable cause for a payout, just like a stimulus boost, because you would actually be able to track it. Like all different ethnicities got this amount of money in different categories. We never got this. So based off of this information and due to inflation and the price of the dollar, if we compared it to when they got the money at time they got those boosts, so like when the Irish got all the land and stuff for the Midwest.
Yeah.
When the farmers got the farmers got their continuous bailout, because I would assume some of that mathematics had to go into play when you got the land for the black farmers, the money, the $2 billion the black farmers got. But I think that I don't know. I just see that there's an opportunity there.
I think that'd be a good study, though.
It's another data set that need to happen.
That'll be a good study. That'll take some time too, because you need to do some retro data just to get back to where we are now, to make it all make sense, just to get to 2020 basically.
Yeah.
You would have to go back and so we can start it. Yeah, and then start at 2020 to start collecting new data based on all the deficits and shit that Trump put us in.
Right.
That'll be a lot more going over. I'm gonna skip over supply chain because I want to go straight to management turnover at FAMU, because I know this is Dante's favorite topic. So, Mike, you ain't got no skin in the game on this, right?
Nah, but I'm gonna say what I gotta say.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go.
So this is I gotta do this. Okay, so we are alums. Well, 2/3 of us are alums.
I'm an advocate. I was an advocate, data, and set member. I was there.
I got you. But as alums, okay, I have watched. I'm gonna say I because I'm older than Dante. I have watched this dumb shit play out with FAMU since I was a little boy. Right, my mom worked there. I had uncles work there. The whole family went to FAMU, basically. Okay. We are now in 2024. We have a interim president. All schools go through the interim presidents. They go to, changes in leadership and all of that kind of thing. We just had the scandal with I don't even know if it's a scandal, but we just had the unvetted $237 million gift to the university. We've had problems with the AD and her mismanagement of funds. We've had a prior AD, even though he was a popular AD, that had some problems with the ex-president with how he went about trying to get more funds into the university through business means and through the media with contracts and scheduled games, money games. We've also had problems with our operations on campus, the dorms, anything from rodents, infested with rodents, HVAC problems, all this shit that's been going on at FAMU. And it's still, to people who've been on the campus, it still seems like, why are we still doing the same shit, right? And most people will attribute financial aid as being that same shit thing, all right? Because financial aid is still in this same queue line and wait type of thing going on with that. It's not as bad as it was when I was in school, but it's still bad, all right? We've gone through embezzlement. We've gone through folks just plain outright stealing money. We've gone through candidates being hired that never should have been in the leadership roles in the first place. We've gone through extramarital affairs, babies. You name it, we have it. All right. So I said all that to get to this. A lot of this stuff would never be an issue, and I got plenty of issues with fam, if university-wide communications, and I'm not talking about the communications department, I'm just talking about plain old just email. where if this was truly a corporate type of establishment, a lot of this stuff we would never know about because it would be kept indoors like it's inside like it's supposed to be at any other corporate structure. If you leaking emails, you get fired, right? A lot of the reason why we know about a lot of the things that go on in FAMU is either because we have a direct relationship with people who work there, okay? Or the staff is intentionally leaking this shit, or we have people that's talking directly to the press. That's not trying to leak it, they're just talking, right? They're just talking and this is matter-of-fact conversation. So my question is, in the HBCU environment, are we our own worst enemy when it comes to leadership brand, when it comes to just general communications, and when it comes to financial responsibility? I'm gonna let y'all roll on that.
Might go first because I'm gonna be long-winded.
I think if you just start pulling it back, it's just the aspect of running it like a business. You remove the emotions and you have to remove some of the history. You have to look at those flaws. It's not like it's the first HBCU to have those problems. I don't know if it just comes from the fact of not having the help. When you look at someone like Jackson State, when you look at Tuskegee University, when you look at some of the other universities, there's always seemed to be a premise of adversity. And it would be, if I was looking at it from a case study, you have to start looking at what is the core problem and where does the nucleus start? Like, where's the core of it, where the breakdown starts at? And I bet you will probably see some form of overlap. Because if you think about your PWIs, you always have a lot of endowment and you have a lot of room to make mistakes. And then you have funding that comes in from the football teams and everything like that through Division I, NCAA, the tournaments, the games. So there's just a lot more leeway for the errors to be made, because it doesn't take away from the educational excellence that you find at HBCUs, where a lot of your best programs at PWIs are built on the back of HBCUs. So I think it's a core finding a cash value and tying into that cash value and operating it like a business. But like you said, and I was being more so facetious to comment, but just from an aspect of my 1 year at HBCU, which was Tuskegee, what's the nucleus of the problem? Are these problems repetitive, or are they coming off as new problems? And if you could figure that out, you start solving some of the problems. So I guess, like, if you guys are talking about it, besides it being more so of an emotional response, and I'm not saying Dante is going to be long-winded just to be long-winded, but if it's more so of an emotional response, what's the actual core? Where does the premise of the core failures come from if you remove simplicities of things like, well, we had a winning year, or we had this kind of turnout and we had this kind of exposure? Where's the actual meat in the bones? Like, what are we really talking about? And that would be my feedback.
Dante, before you start, I'm pretty sure me and him will agree. It's repetitive. This shit is repetitive. It's been like this for forever. And if it's not the exact same action, whatever the cause is always repetitive. It may not be, the end result may be something different, right? Like this time we had the biggest issue was the gift, but that's no different from people not being vetted on the backside, and then you end up hiring somebody that was wrong for your university from the start. But go ahead, Dante.
So, number one, I can go back to a conversation Sid and I had. It was somewhere around 2000 to 2002. I think you had just left bank.
Yeah, that was that time.
And we said, in order to get a lot of these universities correct, they need to hire a CEO versus having somebody got a DR in their name and a bunch of letters after it. So to tie on what you said, Mike, yes, they need to remove the fucking emotion out of the complete process. Because every time we vet or we go through these search inquiries for somebody in a particular position, they always gotta be like, what's their credentials, and they got a PhD. We don't care. We don't care. We don't need to care about that anymore. We need somebody who's gonna get down to the blood guts of it all and get the shit solved. You're gonna keep having these repetitive things happen over and over and over and over again because, as you said, and I agree with you, we put too much goddamn emotion into it. I've had to, the last 48 hours, I've had to talk a couple of my classmates off a ledge because this is not a Fortune 500 company. I didn't say we are, but they need to treat this shit like one because there are weak spots in the university, in the leadership team that has caused these issues and these problems. There's no sense our frat brother Keith Miles didn't do crisis communication when this fucking bad gift came through. There's no sense why Tiffany Sykes has done all the mishandling, especially with high-priced donors during that par, and it getting pushed out through rumors and via 100 text messages and WhatsApps. Should have never hit the fucking fan because she should have been educated on who are these major people that are involved with the university. It shouldn't have taken, but people don't realize Larry Robinson did that shit back in 2016 when he took over the position. He gutted 7 positions. So we need to take the emotion, and in order for our black schools to get to the pinnacle in what we need to, especially to a D1, a low-level D1 level, outside of this D2 frame of stuff, I'm related to athletics. We need to bring some people that's going to bring in those major dollars, who's going to be out there getting the monies that we need to excel. Yes, we know states have owe us billions of dollars because they haven't paid us our money. That's the government part. We need somebody to go handle that. We need somebody also, too, to be the face of this, I forgot. Isn't Thrasher at FSU? He wasn't a doctor. He was a business person, correct?
Well, he was a representative for a long time. He was in the state legislature.
It was one of these schools in Florida that actually got a business, I can't remember, a business CEO to run the university, and they excelled. So yes, Mike, you are 100% correct. Move the fucking emotion out of it. Timothy Beard is in their right. Beard is in their right to get all the damage, the cancer out of the system. Now, yes, due to the political climate and who he supports, Ron, it's a bad look. But on the other side of it is he doing his job. He's in there for 12 months and he gone. He's already said, look, I'm here for 12 months. I'm out. He don't want to be there long. And so we need to do better, not only as alumni, as the community and supporters. We need to support more. We need to voice our opinions more. Hell, we voice our opinions with these political campaigns. We can voice our opinions for institutions in which we got our education from. We are alumnus. They shaped us into the human beings and who the fuck we are. And I'm tired of this, this not a Fortune 500. Yes, it needs to be treated like one. Because the only way we gonna get fucking forward is that we fucking treat this shit like one. That we find the ways to make the money to make this better. Our programs can't get better without support. Period. We need more endowments. Hell, I need Melinda Gates to go swing by real quick.
Well, so let me. Why? You need a hug first, bro?
I'm tired. I'm like Mike. Mike, Mike, look at the camera. Mike, look at the camera. What Mike said. Take the fucking emotion out of this shit, man.
Okay, so
fuck it. Hold on, time out. University of Florida just fucking fired. They goddamn we ain't talking about that motherfucker.
Yeah, they fired Sash. Yeah, but so okay, so I get. I'm detached from all this shit because I got treated bad with fam. So I got a lot of stuff I could say. But I'm older now, and I only want to see my university succeed. But okay, so and because I also know that people don't make up the university. The university is something separate from the people that are there. So I know that I know that in any company you can have some bad employees. I happen to have to face a lot of the bad employees at FAM, and it is what it is. So with all of that, with what you conveyed, with what you know your opinions on that, it seems to me that the academic part, the model, the business model of having the academic at the top of the university only works if everybody else up under the academic is business minded. And that if you get a business minded person at the top of the university, everybody else probably should be more focused on
academics.
The academics. So whatever it is you're looking for, it needs to be that. But what I found, and I can't speak for all the HBCUs, what I found with FAMU, it doesn't matter. I don't know if we've ever had a business-minded actual head besides Humphreys.
That was the only one.
You know, and I'm not a big fan of his either. But I'm not really trying to make it about business or the academic. But from what I've seen as far as how the leadership goes at FAMU, period, is there's never complete buy-in from top to bottom. There's always okay, so the top is always going to have something going on with what they want, but there's always some kind of dissension going on at 3 or 4 different places, and I don't know any business that can survive that if you got 4 different messages going across. You heard me arguing with my office mate William earlier, but right before you got on, we was having this conversation about brand leadership brand or whatever. And he's a West Point grad, but he was having a conversation with a FAM grad. And I was trying to break down that whenever you talk to someone, and we all know that brand is what people think about you, is not about what you think about yourself, what they can say about you. But I was telling him when I hear the word West Point, I already got something stuck in my head of what West Point means, right? It's probably gonna mean some structure, some discipline, some other shit that go on, whatever you're thinking about West Point. If you say the same thing about Harvard, same thing. If you say the same thing about Howard, right? Howard has a different, whatever the perception of Howard is, that's what you're gonna get. And I was telling him, because we're going through what we're going through, I don't know what I would hear if I asked, what do you think about FAMU at this moment? You might get 60 different responses, because I think that we've never in our university's history, even when I used to run around and do all of those promos with Humphreys when I was on campus playing ball and doing all of that like it's better shit, I don't think we've ever understood what leadership brand was, right? If a Will Packer leaves our school, Will Packer, when he goes into LA to a studio, they ought to know that's a FAMU grad. Not because he told them, but because that's what the brand is. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Right? You know a Harvard grad when they come, because you probably done heard from somebody else that he's a Harvard grad, not because he came and told you that he was a Harvard grad. It's just one of those things that just kind of like, it leads into the conversation before you ever even get to whatever it is you get into with that person. And I don't think if you walked in right now and said, I went to FAM, you might get a bunch of cross reactions because they don't know what to say about FAM. So the point I was trying to get to, and what I was getting to with William was, and what you raised concerns about is, do we get a business person? Do we get an academic? I don't think any of that matters. I think the message has to be clear from wherever it's coming from across the entire organization. Because if it doesn't permeate across the entire organization, we still running around in circles like a hamster on a hamster wheel.
Yeah, wouldn't that also?
You know what I'm saying?
It seems
One
like
band,
that
one
also
sound.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it seems like that concludes with intent. It seems like there's a mispurpose of what the intent of what's going on.
Yeah. I get that.
It just need to be one cohesive brand, one cohesive, like one band, one sound, for lack of a better.
But see, I don't think they have a. I don't think they have a plan like that.
No,
you know
I'm not disagreeing with you. Maybe they don't have one.
I'm just
we
saying
don't have one.
Okay, so you know how y'all go in with a plan with a client. I don't think they actually have anything. I don't think they've ever had that. I think they've had segments of things that would be in your plan, right? You could pick up the brand guideline that Vaughn did 900 years ago, right? And then people, all they've done is just duplicate it. You could go to communications and see certain things about licensing, which I don't understand why the fuck they even got the licensing thing now, because it used to be with Angela Suggs when she was there. So I don't know how that ended up in the communications office. But all of those things are like separate, and nobody works together on the messaging. The messaging is terrible at FAMU, and I don't get that, because you basically have one of the top business schools. You got one of the top journalism schools. You basically hired one of your top grads who said, fuck it, I'm going back to Tampa to my firm. I ain't fucking with this no more. Kathy Times. And then you brought on Keith Miles, who you didn't give staff to. Okay? And he made a small error by backing up and amen in that gift. He probably shouldn't have done that. That was probably an unforced error, I'm sure. And then you got other people on this campus that literally know how to do this stuff, but the messaging is different from one place to the next place to the next place to the next place. And then you got a whole bunch of secrecy and non-transparency. It's just so much bullshit going on up there that's still the same model from when I was in school, when you was in school, and when Mike finally left Tuskegee and went to his PW. You finished at State, right? Didn't you finish at State?
State and then North Carolina State.
North Carolina State, and then we went to North Carolina State. So that's a long time ago. That shit's been going on for a while, even before I ever even got in college. So I don't know. Let's hope for the best. I talked to James today, and the thing he was like, well, I just don't like us being in the news like that. Well, I was like, well, if we try to do things right, we probably wouldn't be in the news as much. And I don't think we make an effort to do things right. I think we do make an effort to just plug holes, and that's not how you fix things. Plugging a hole is just gonna make a bigger hole somewhere else. Yeah,
it's temporary. And I'm tired of temporary fixes. We need, like you said, we need a cohesive message. We need somebody who's gonna lead. It could be another educator, but we need somebody who got like some business acumen behind it, knowing he or she needs to go forge these relationships with people who's going to help them move the university forward.
The model has changed though, clearly.
Yeah.
It's clearly changed.
And even if it's bi-weekly staff meetings for the first year, leadership meetings for the first year, so you can make sure, like, look here, motherfuckers, we all need to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Some of us may not like the messaging, but this is the message we need to send. Period. This is the same message. Everybody send the same fucking message.
And I'm gonna send you a text later, but I got an idea about some alumni watchdog groups that we need to have to like this. Actually just watch what the hell they doing from year to year and give some real feedback from the alumni instead of having all this shit in these chat groups in public.
Yeah.
But moving on. Yeah. Political memes. I know y'all seen the controversy about the meme of this is what it would look like in a presidency with Trump, and this is what it would look like. And I think they used the word neighborhood. Trying to be proper instead of saying hood, but neighborhood with Harris. Give me your thoughts on that.
Was the premise of that, was that photo from America? It looked
It
like
looks like
something.
it.
Okay.
No, that looked like somewhere maybe Central Africa or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Maybe even Haiti. It could have been anywhere.
I'm actually gonna keep this one short.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Wait a minute, let me get my drink too then, since you drinking on shit.
I just think people have accepted and will show their true colors. It just becomes a point where when you see certain things, if you have that decency you claim you have, you would step back and you would have to say to yourself, all right, we took it too far. And I believe to the fact that we don't have people stepping up and saying, all right, we took it too far. To me, it speaks enough volumes to what people really stand for. And it's become less of a mute argument. It's become more of a premise of understanding of how either people really feel or how people really misinterpret the truth when given to them. And I do believe that there's a lot of people that are caught up in their emotions with what's going on, and the truth doesn't matter anymore. Or there's a lot of people that have allowed us to see how they really feel about topics. And I mean this for some of what I would consider closest and dearest friends. You can't avoid the premise of systematic racism and socialism to where you can continue to just let it slide and say, oh, you know, they didn't mean it that way. And because what I think is they meant it exactly the way they said it, and you have made a decision how you're going to accept it. And people have put themselves in a position to where they've decided to accept things that should not be socially acceptable. And as long as they're going to continue to run the gamut of moving that way, I wish them well. Because I do believe we have to get to a point where we've decided of tolerance. There's just certain things we won't tolerate. And I don't care who somebody is. I don't care how long I've known you. Once you've exposed yourself to me, there's nothing that says I'm obligated to remain loyal to you in any way, shape, or form. And
I feel you with that.
Those memes don't... There's certain things that even when I'm joking, there's lines and boundaries that I wouldn't cross. And when you have conversations with certain people and it's like, yo, did you see that? And you know, I'm probably setting them up for sure, you know what I'm saying? But when it's like, yo, did you see that? And they're like, oh yeah, I saw it. And it's like, oh, okay. So you don't feel nothing about that. And they say they don't. I can't step away and be like, oh, maybe they don't understand. Because most of these people I'm talking about are, you know, educated people. And it's made me look at people in a certain way. But Dante has kind of said it on a personal level. You know, you get to a point where you realize you can't take everybody along with you. I would just say for me, more so on a personal level, you get to the point where you realize you don't think the same as a lot of people that you thought you did. And it might be time to walk away from them, because I have to start wondering, if it came down to it, is this person going to have the best of my interest at hand because of how they feel? And I understand some people might be like, oh, well, you shouldn't get like this within politics. Some of this stuff ain't political to me. Some of these things are issues that I actually deal with as a black man. It don't have nothing to do with politics. It's just life. And if I'm dealing with that kind of stuff in life and that's how you feel about it, there's going to be no premise. And this would be more so the vulnerability of a man. You know, we need that reassurance. We normally don't get that reassurance. So if I'm looking at things and the one thing I can't trust is the reassurance from you, what makes you think I'm going to feel comfortable bringing those elements to you when I've seen you display yourself? And if you've displayed yourself in that manner for the sake of a good time on social media, to me, that just makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will realize that they won't realize it till later, which is somewhat sad. But I think a lot of people aren't going to realize till later that they've silenced a lot of their friends, and they're going to wonder why are their friends not speaking to them. And it's because they sat there and they watched your actions, and your actions said more than you thought they did. But those actions mattered at the end of the day.
To add on to what Mike said, I have personally unfollowed several people, accounts, whatever you want to call them, in the past couple of weeks because as their colors have flown, their flags are at full staff, and their attitudes and actions are too. Especially some of us. What I mean by some of us, black men, outside of the racist tropes and the and the one I sent today of, oh, I'm a black woman. You're a white guy sending this, whatever. Outside of the racist trolls from the normal people, and like I said, a couple classmates have shown their colors, and I say, okay, noted, delete. I don't need to go on. I can take my piece. I don't need to go on an argument with an idiot that's beneath me. Number two, but it's shocking not shocking. I'm glad this is happening. It's kind of like an ethnic cleansing of some sort.
Don't use it like that though.
Not like that. It's like I say of some sort. It's making
what you're talking about.
It's making people aware, like Mike said, it's making people aware of what people are saying and the actions that they're doing. I'm not saying like it's kind of like, okay, got you. You know, because you may have a woman, she might be white, but she's saying you doing this, you saying these and putting these memes up about another woman, no matter the race, whether she black, white, Chinese. This is how you feel. I can't associate myself with you. And everybody's situation is different, but the association, people are about to lose a lot of people in their lives. And it began because of the colors in which they are showing. I pray that we as humans be better humans. I say that every time. Like just strive to be a better human. But unfortunately,
do people understand what that means?
Everybody don't.
I don't think people understand. I don't think people really understand the concept of humanity. And y'all hear me talk about the social contract all the time. I don't think people understand. When we were growing up, we probably all heard about the Beatitudes and biblical stuff and Christian stuff. I don't think, and I'm not getting on a religion part of this, but I think as a social contract, we literally have a duty to respect each other as humans. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't think people understand what that try to be a good human means.
I mean, like, give you a good
people
example.
Are stepping over people right now. But go ahead.
I'll give you a good example. I was at Sam's, wanted to go grab me something from the bar, the snack bar or whatever. And I paid for an elderly couple's hot dogs. It was $2. It was like $2.50, whatever. And they were shocked that a 6'3" black man paid for an elderly white couple's hot dog. Like, man, just be a better human. Say, what can we do? Like, just be a better human. And I walked away. And they still was talking about me buying their hot dogs when I left the stand. Like, just be a better human. It's the simple things in life that will make humanity go further longer. But unfortunately, we got to lie 160 plus times on a press conference. We got to put out these memes about all this other stuff, and we got to make clown faces of Vice President Harris when you got the clown suit on the wrong person who got over 30 felony convictions. So I'd be glad when November 5th. Yeah.
I'm just okay. So I'm gonna end this, and I'm not gonna go too long on this. November 5th can come and go and it'll run just like we want it to, right? Kamala Harris wins, whatever. We still gonna have to individually. We all still gonna have to deal with this humanity issue. In talking with people, I still think it's not our job, but I think it's a function of people like us to carry on the conversation of what that humanity thing means. All right, in our own way. We don't have to be sitting around lecturing people about humanity, but things like you did for paying for a hot dog, that's like paying something forward, right? I actually like the movie Pay It Forward. It had people in it that may be, suspect playing the parts, but that kind of movie is that's the kind of stuff that people need to see. Hey, shit. Why would you post something that literally drives you right back into the thoughts of a day where not even a lot of white people want to go back to? Like, why? We don't want to go back to that shit. That's some bullshit. But this is what you want to go back to because you think that's what all of your group wants. And then you subject another group to all of the racist tropes, of time, along the line of time that they've had to go through. And you're saying because of one mixed race person, this is what you get. And because of one convicted felon and adjudicated rapist and one-time charge under the Espionage Act, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about here? Is that like the discourse? This is just like Mike said. It's almost like we have grown numb to all of this bullshit. Like, we just numb to it, and that shit. If you numb to this shit and this shit don't bother you, man, you got problems. It's something fucking wrong with you. You should never be numb to shit like that. Never should be numb to shit like that. But I digress.
I just want to say this.
Go ahead.
It's people that I know that are highly intelligent, and fuck it. One is named Joe and one is named Brandon.
Okay.
And to me, to have them send memes or to send things that I know, or even short videos that they could just simply take some of the time to research to find out the stuff is not true. What it did for me was expose more so the train of thought that people are in, that a lot of people aren't trying to actually solve any of the problems that we're presenting. Because if I told these very same people, like, hey man, it's $1 million on the table, you got to go about it this way, they would do whatever it took to hunt down that $1 million. And I understand some people right now may just see this as, and I'm going to assume this, but some people right now may just see this as some form of their entertainment. But it's the fact that people see this as a form of entertainment, not realizing the people that it hurts. And why it matters to me is the people that it hurt don't really have the same premise of defending themselves like we do. Or they might not have the same, I don't want to say education. They just might not have the same wherewithal to defend themselves the way that we are. And it makes me more so nervous. Like, what are you actually doing behind closed doors when I'm not watching? And what are you saying to people? And then, maybe it's like, oh, well, they say this kind of stuff to me and Dante, or they say this kind of stuff to us because it's like, well, we just kind of running it by y'all. We just want to see how y'all feel about it. And, maybe that's the case. And maybe they need some form of embracement to see how ridiculous their ideas are. But, like I got a video today talking about the immigrants are getting $2,200 and the debit cards. And I'm like, Joe, yeah, fuck it. Joe, you should be watching this. I was like, bro, that happened in just New York. That was a short-term thing. They had to figure something out. And it was about illegal immigrants getting the SSI money. Like, you can't get Social Security money if you're not registered in the system. It's just so much where it's just like now we've put a veil to common sense. And it's also, and I wasn't even trying to go here because I love the discussion today. But it's like it's a veil to common sense, but it's this discretion. Like, okay, we don't care how much he lied, we don't care how much wrong he did. We're just gonna ignore that because we just don't want him to win because they're coming for my guns. I'm like, brother, you got all them guns in your house. Ain't no Democrat Party gonna come and say, give us the guns back. And if you ain't crazy and if you ain't committed a crime, a lot of this stuff don't apply to you. And it's like, oh, well, this is what happened to black people. You ain't a criminal. So why is everything negative when we talk about what is done? It's just the conversation has gotten so far gone that I just honestly don't feel people are having a conversation because they want to do anything for the betterment of our community anymore.
It's only individual. It's I.
Yeah, because
it's an I conversation now.
If I hit a gun conversation one more goddamn time, as a registered legal gun owner myself, they just want to stop. They just want to stop the automatic or the process of the automatic weapon. But I digress.
It's just,
it's some illegal butt stops and handles out there. That's
a lot of this is reminiscent of just really selfish behavior, and the numbness comes because it don't affect them personally, so it's not a problem. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, if you can't get behind that, we have so much structurally racist infrastructure in this country.
You can't end this company. It's still right because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's happening within this.
Yeah, if you can't get behind the fact that is happening and it's happening asymmetrically, like we like to talk, and this thing is really crazy. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on.
All right.
Go ahead.
Now,
let's move on. Let's move on and get back to it. Go ahead.
This is literally a sentence. It just bothers me that most of the people that think this way came from some kind of hardships and struggles, and now that they're making a little bit of money, the attitude has changed. Because none of them was thinking this way when they was coming up.
Yeah. So I had a question. Y'all saw these already. Poll numbers versus real numbers, but I think it actually plays into the Texas and the Florida issue about both of those states being in play because of the ground that Kamala has made up in both of those states. So I don't have a question about the poll numbers versus real numbers because I want to make the question about Texas and Florida. Do you guys think that we already know that Florida has a possibility to be purple? Do you think Texas can be purple?
I think both of them can, especially with the migration that's happened, with the amount of people that have moved. And it may not be everybody, but this is just me. I think the media has done a slight disservice to the education of people. And there's one thing that most people may not know that they should kind of focus on. And I would say that focus is your vote matters in a way that you might not think it matters. And we need to get out there and vote because the people that aren't voting should understand right now, almost every place you're at is a take-all state, right? And so it's a winner take all. So even if your district is red, it doesn't mean that your vote won't count. Yeah, you might not be able to change anything locally, but there's only 2 states, Maine and I forgot the other one. But there's only 2 states where they vote, they turn in the delegates, and the electoral college turns in everything by the district. Other than that, yeah, like I'm saying back home for us, I think Leon County was kind of close to being blue. But for people like,
blue. Yeah, they kind of was blue last time.
Yeah, it's normally we capture normally all the college educated places.
Yeah, you know how it is. It's usually Tallahassee is the bluest of the county, and then everything else in the county is red.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So it will require like people in Tallahassee to run the ground game to the Gadsden, Bay County, and all the smaller counties. Like, yes, your county might be red, but you still got to get out there and vote. Because if you watch the wrong news cycle, it'd be like, oh, well, this county still stayed red. And somebody might be like, well, why am I going to vote? Because I think some people, I wanted to run a quick survey on this. I think some people think their votes are turned in based off of the county, not that their vote is just a vote, and they're just using that to show these counties would need to be flipped to make a vote turn. But I bet you a lot of votes could turn if smaller counties had more Democrats and even more, well, it wouldn't be more Republican because most of them are red. But if those smaller counties had more Democrats show up, the counties may not change, but it would have a great impact on the gross voting or the overall net voting and the net gain within those states. And I think that's an educational component in civics and just voting that most people aren't capturing right now.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that the highly populated, or the, as Mike just referred to, the highly educated areas, where the education level is probably higher, is either some kind of college or something to that level, based on census numbers. I think everything is fair. Is a fair shot this year, especially with a lot of Republicans coming out against their own party. And a lot of Republicans, like, they're tired of it. I think I read an article earlier today that Mitch McConnell is scared if Kamala wins, they're gonna get rid of the filibuster. They need to get rid of it.
Yeah, but I don't think they will, though.
Again, this dude, Turkey Neck, is just scared, but he's on his way out anyway.
Turkey Neck, that's a good one.
So it's possible. I think it's possible because people, I think we talked about this last week. People are tired. They're tired of the lies. They're tired of the rhetoric. They're tired of the racism and misogyny and all the other little things that happens that's going on, especially coming out of the Trump camp. They're just tired of it, and so I think it's going to be a lot of people switching their vote this year. I don't care what the party line is. Hopefully more will go out to vote. More are active in their civic duty and their process to vote. I push this every year. If you need to ride to the polls, call me. I'll take you myself. It's just crazy. So
I just wish more people that were changing their vote weren't changing their vote with the aspect of I had more money in my pocket when Trump was in office without running any causation and correlation logic in their head that those things happen because you stayed at home and it was a global pandemic. That's the part that bothers me. It's just like, I'm going to analyze all this stuff, but I'm just going to skip right past this.
Yeah. I have a theory that because of, and I can't speak for Texas, but this theory is for Florida. Because of the amount of pressure that DeSantis put on so many different issues in this state, I think it's going to drive this state to become a purple state for the election, because it hit a lot of different areas where it would cross over into conservative ties. Not all conservatives are with the book bans. Not all conservatives are with abortion. There were a bunch of conservatives against how he treated the new Florida college. New college. Is it a college in Florida? Or new college. What is it? Florida College?
New college.
Whatever it is. New college or whatever. Tons of conservatives who were against the whatever this pseudo ban on Black history, and that being taught not from the AP side of that, but from what the state wanted the regular curriculum to be for African American history. I think it's so many different things that he attacked, transgender, LGBT, all of these different groups and agendas and things that he did while he was on the campaign trail for being the president. I think that will be enough for Kamala Harris to come in and get one huge rally here and say, listen, and this is just me talking as if I was her. Hey, listen, I know y'all don't agree with everything that I stand for, but I'm not going to be a person that's just going to trample over every right that you have. You get what I'm saying? Because on January 6th, there were people flying, LGBT flags in that place. They were gays for Trump. They had all kind of stuff going on in there. So you got people who support him in these different groups, but I'm pretty sure they don't want their rights trampled on. When I said this last week, man, it's going to be a totally different type of outcome, or at least there's going to be a totally different crowd going to the polling places this year to cast their votes, because these cats are totally out of control with this shit. Totally out of control. There is something in Project 2025 for everything that we're talking about. They have not uncovered, missed a stone at all. There's no stone unturned. They have everything in that. Okay, they're touching education, all of these different gender identity groups. They're touching women's rights. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just talking about the stuff that he's touched. They're talking about curriculums. They're talking about that. Everything is in there. Okay. And remember last week I mentioned J.D. Vance is writing that. He wrote that forward for the guy who actually was the author of the entire plan from Heritage, and they've been doing stories on that all day today. It's if the people in Texas can the women, I'm gonna say specifically the women in Texas. If the women in Texas get fed up with Governor Abbott and that bullshit that's going on in Texas, Texas will be purple too. Just for this election, because now you're talking about the Fifth Circuit, who they always go to get shit done, to get it to the Supreme Court about women's rights, and I can't remember how you pronounce the mifepristone. Is that how you pronounce it?
I'm not sure.
The abortion pill. They go to that guy who's Asian. I think he's Asian, the head judge in that court, to get everything to the Supreme Court. And they're watching their state basically say, man, y'all ain't got control of y'all body. Y'all ain't got control of what you can do as far as abortion rights and treatment past that, into that other kind of stuff. Because guess what? Project 2025 has legislation in there, or proposed legislation in there, where you don't get a choice over anything about your body. Not just abortion, there's other treatments.
The gamut.
I just don't see either one of these states being all red when everything is done on November 5th. When that's all said and done, I think both of those states are going to tumble.
I think more people are walking away from also just the premise of they don't want Trump anymore. And yeah. I believe you have a lot of Republicans that have felt they've lost that center, the core value, because there becomes a point where you can't defend, we are Christian and family oriented and centered, but that's your proposed leader. To me, which I guess this is one of those things where I find it hard to understand why certain people feel a certain way. When has the Democratic Party had like a major takeover? Because I feel like we go through this with the Republican Party every 8 to 12 years. We had the Tea Party. I forgot the other thing, but it's always something with them.
Freedom Caucus.
Yeah.
Tea Party, Freedom Caucus.
It's like
Yeah.
they go through something where it's like this major fight almost. It's just this intense thing, and I'm like, when are y'all going to come to a central ground? And it's always funny to me because we even say it ourselves. Why are the Democrats fighting amongst each other, and why don't they fall in line? We've never had a Democratic Party takeover like we did with the Tea Party, the Freedom Caucus, and like we have now with MAGA.
No.
And I just feel still, and I will continue to say this, we continue to do a horrible job with the art of storytelling when we defend Democrat, because that's the first thing. Like, what do you mean we don't fall in line? We just have friendly arguments. We have family arguments in front of each other. Y'all have whole coups taken over. Y'all have a whole sub party that'll come in and take over, because I wonder what's going to be next. And the only thing I think they can hope for is that they get recentered around the Bush times. Bush 2.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to have to try to go back to.
Or somebody who really embodies what Reagan was trying to get to, where it wasn't center, but it wasn't far right either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reagan wanted a certain rightness, which you could say whiteness, to this nation, but he didn't want what the hell is going on now. He didn't want that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? There's no way Reagan would support a Donald Trump right now. I don't see that. I don't know. I can't speak for that, but I don't see that happening.
Donald Trump has a level of arrogance that has worked against him, whether he realizes it or not. And I think it's one of those things, because right now it's so entertaining. They're not going to talk about it, but we'll hear it come up in history, or we'll hear it come up in 3 to 4 years. And they have that conversation of, there's things he actually could have done if he wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
And that's when it's going to be like, wait, what do you mean there's things he could have done if he wanted? Well, actually, if he wouldn't have said this wouldn't have looked so bad. Or if he wouldn't have said this wouldn't have overshadowed what he was actually trying to do. Because everything he's doing, there's still, I don't bring him up because I don't like to give him ammunition. There's definitely some good things he's done on that ticket. But they don't even know the good things he's done on that ticket. And he's gotten so deep into their mindset. A lot of these arguments just come from the premise of emotional debates. Like, he's finally talked about policies today, or he had opportunity to, and even with opportunity today to talk about policies, he couldn't help but taking jabs at her.
Yeah.
Like, he could make it a fair fight, but he's made it to where it's become exhaustive to people.
Yeah, his narcissism is killing that. That's what's killing him right now.
Yeah, and it's just like, bro, you could have got past a lot of it. It's almost like we could go consult him to put up a better fight.
Yeah.
You just gain nothing by giving him you gain nothing by giving him the information. But you could literally go consult him and be like, hey, you could switch this up, and you could quit saying this stupid. You could say this, and they might actually listen, and you can actually
if he just stayed on subject, he probably would be doing better.
It's bad, right? Because every network that's in support of him, which Fox and Newsmax and all the other places, they're actually saying this on air. They're telling him, hey man, you might want to lay off the you might want to do some politics, you might want to do policy, you might want to, you know what I'm saying? They're actually giving him
hints.
A playbook. And this dude is so far gone mentally with his narcissism that he can't resist. He can't resist that shit.
Yeah,
I gotta get her. I
gotta say something just because she said something. It's like I got my feelings hurt, so I'm gonna say something. It may not make no sense, but I gotta say something. It's like, no, actually, you don't even have to address that. Here's the chance. And because it was when we was on one of these conversations today, somebody was like, well, the thing is, she's coming up with, she's saying the same thing he already said, and even though, when he said it, everybody laughed at him and called him crazy. Now that she's saying it, everybody's like, oh, that's a genius, that's a great idea. And specifically, they were talking about the no taxation on tips.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I was like, repeat what you said again. And they was like, well, when he said it, they made fun of him. When she said it, I was like, before you said this, I said sometimes the premise of an artist It's timing, and sometimes the remix is better than the original. Everybody might remember Come and Talk to Me, but we remember that summer remix of Come and Talk to Me.
Yeah.
That remix was
Sure
the
do.
banger. That remix went harder than the original. And so, yeah, they had them boots and they put that little rap in it. So that alone shows you if he shut up and followed strategy, yes, he could probably do some good. But he doesn't like to follow strategy. So therefore, it's going to be impossible for him to do some good.
He is always the smartest person in the room.
And it's
all right, so
that's it.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's the ego and the narcissism.
Yeah.
He could probably be much more competitive right now if he didn't do what he was doing.
Yeah.
Just stay on subject.
All right, so we're gonna hit that. Actually rolls right into this perfectly, right? Because I said last week when I had a project, We Are Under Attack, that I was writing. Well, I did write it, but I kind of like got bored with it and went on with my new project that'll be coming out soon. But anyway, it basically was talking about asymmetrical politics and how the right was really, really good at it, because they would, they'd stab you here and move on, stab you here, move on, go back here, stab you. You never knew where they were coming from because everything was always impromptu, but it always seemed like it was planned. Mm-hmm. All right. And that's coming from Trump, because he's always looking for something to draw attention to himself. And I don't think he does that part. He does on purpose, but the effect of it, I don't think he ever plans for. So it was working against Joe. Y'all know how I feel about Joe, but I'm glad that they're giving Kamala all of this support, because that was my one reservation with Kamala running. I didn't think they would give her the support, but now that they're giving her the support, I'm really 100% behind that. So I just want to let the audience know that I'm 100% behind Kamala. But while he was running against Joe, that asymmetrical shit was working, right? He too old. He don't know how to do this. Look at how he falling, Or I'm gonna go over here. Oh, Kamala's over here. Oh, I'm gonna hit Schumer. Oh, I'm gonna hit Nancy Pelosi, who's not even on the floor anymore. I'm just gonna hit everybody, right? Mm-hmm. The asymmetrical thing now has turned around, because now it seems like Harris and Walz are actually taking the same game plan and basically enhancing that shit and perfecting it. All right. The first thing they did was, hey, I ain't doing no damn interviews. I talk to the press on every road trip I got. I'm talking to the press when I get off the plane. I'm talking to the press when I'm getting on the plane. I'm talking to the press when I'm walking towards the arena. Those are my interviews. All right. I got one-liners. I got two-liners. I got names. I go to the I got like quick little phrases I can say that the crowd knows already before I even get to the arena. I'm licensing music. We got all this shit going on, and it's not a part of a cohesive traditional political campaign, which I also think is dead too. That business model is dead too. You're gonna have to campaign different because of what kind of the citizenry we have right now. The young people are coming up, and we got 20 million new voters this election, I think. There's 20 million boomers that died, and we got 40 million new voters.
20 and 40.
20 and 40. Yeah. So that's what it is. Okay, so question: asymmetrical politics, like it or not?
They ran the play, but now you know how to defend the play. And also, I think so many people are upset because Kamala is actually, she's running a strategy. Because I called somebody else with this. They was like, yeah, if you think about it, what's one thing they used to say about Hillary Clinton? Hillary lost because she didn't have a good ground game. She didn't take certain states serious. She didn't take Trump serious, so she thought she had it in the bag. And I just said that. And then they said it again. Well, I'm going to repeat this. Hillary could have won if she would have had a better ground game. I'm like, so she's doing the very thing that Hillary failed at. She's focusing on the ground game and she's not going to media. Why would I go somewhere where I know the objective for them to make money and to look good is to try to make me look bad? even if on the back end they're cheering for me, their objective is to still make me look bad. So what's the benefit of going there? You don't go. So she's like, okay, I could go here and mess with y'all, but y'all been talking bad about me. Y'all talk about the way y'all getting into controversy. So I ain't gonna say nothing. Well, she ain't got no policies. Well, actually she does. The policies are whitehouse.org. whitehouse.gov. She's gonna run the same policies. And if you think about it, it's kind of respectful. Why would I try to outshine my sitting president and say, well, he didn't effectively run these policies? No, I need to wait. My policies, hey, things are getting better. Here are the 10 things we've already done that's getting better. I'm just gonna keep improving on what's getting better. And also now, you got people that's like, well, we running out of stuff to talk about because she don't want to talk, right? So now that they running out of stuff to talk about because she don't want to talk, it's starting to become, well, you know what? Yeah, you guys, she's right. So yeah, you know, Trump did inherit a great economy. Trump did leave Biden with a pandemic. If you look at it, every single, at least since we could vote, but almost pretty much since we've been alive, every single Democratic president has came in fixing up a mess. Every Republican president has inherited a developing or growing economy. Clinton left a surplus. Obama left things getting better. And unfortunately for y'all, that's all we got. You only got 2 Democratic presidents. Everything that was messed up and was undone, you had Reagan and you had Bush.
Bush 1, Bush 2.
Yeah. So if a Democratic president is always cleaning up, to me, you can't really run the book on them until that second term, because they spending the first 2 to 3 years cleaning up the mess left by a Republican president. And she's like, that's what's happening. So we in cleanup mode. We gonna go into they rebuilding the team right now. And if you got a winning record, I'm going sports to lighten it up. So if you got a winning record while you're rebuilding the team, guess what? They don't fire the coach. So if she's with a winning record and it's the coach is like, I'm gonna retire, I'm gonna pass it off. Now that she get one more year in her winning record, now it's like now we gonna get ready for the playoff. Now we going for a championship.
Don't you think that the interview thing is not a problem because the press is already actively covering it? Why would you interview if you're already getting the best press you can? Yeah. Why would you ever interview?
You talking about me without giving me the opportunity to slip up. So as long as I'm reigning in press and you still coming to my rallies, because she's doing what Trump was doing. Trump was doing all kind of rallies. He was doing untraditional stuff. The problem is things are only bad when we use it against them. And right now they're upset because she's like, let's run the playbook. I would equate their social media game to me is equivalent to Obama's poetry and the Shepard Fairey poster.
Okay.
They got something that's going viral that cannot be controlled by the media. You couldn't stop Shepard from printing them posters. You couldn't stop people from wanting that poster signed by anybody in the DNC. You couldn't stop people from wanting that t-shirt. That poster was our social media back then, right? So if she has an equivalent of a Shepard Fairey ground game right now, why depend on the media when you don't need them? I might see her commercial here and there on TV. I can't open up a social media platform without seeing her commercial.
Yeah.
Why go to CNN
Absolutely.
when almost everybody on CNN might consider themselves moderate or left? You already gonna vote for me. You see the stuff Donald Trump do, so why I need to talk to you? Like, oh, she got to sit down with ABC. Nah, because we already know it's going to be biased and they're going to fact check her. We have, again, this is where that standard of where I've lost some GOP friends. If she tells a lie, that lie will run for 2 weeks. If she fumbles over words, that fumbling might run for 6 to 7 days. If Donald Trump lies, it lasts for 60 to 90 seconds. You know what? Since you brought it up, I'll bring this shit all the way back. If Donald Trump lies, it's like the black dollar in the black community. It's good for 6 hours. If VP Harris lie, it's like the money in the Chinese community. That shit gonna last for 21 days. So why make that kind of investment? I'm gonna keep my dollars in my community. She keeping her words to herself and using it to the defense and the strategy she needs. So she gets to literally say, fuck the media. Y'all don't get to call nobody. And for somebody like us three that we know the game, they don't get to get that director, the EP, and call somebody like, hey, we gonna have her on Saturday, on Thursday. So we got some commercial spots. Who willing to pay the most money for those commercial spots? They not worried about her speaking to the people. They worried about selling advertisement and getting viewership up by her being present. So she like
we all agree with that.
Yeah, she like Jay-Z. What Jay-Z used to say, y'all won't give me no award, so fuck coming to the show. Jay-Z didn't start coming until Beyonce was winning, and he was like, I'm just here to support my wife. Then they was like, well, shit, we better give this nigga something. They had to give him a Lifetime Achievement Award. And he was basically like, it took y'all long enough. So I hope she get on there and Jay-Z that stage when she found y'all wanted these interviews. We ain't getting into no bullshit. Let's talk policy. I hope she come and give them exactly what they wanted. If they ask an off-brand question, nah, y'all said y'all wanted me here to talk about my policy. Let's stay on track. I hope she gut check.
Let's roll.
I hope I see all of that Howard, aka. I hope I see everything of Auntie Harris come out of her, where she put them in a chokehold and be like, "You asked for this, now let's go."
Dante? Oh, you good? You good? Yeah.
I mean,
shut him up, Mike.
Because me and Dante, we talked about this offline. Because putting her in the box. She ran the game on y'all and y'all mad. She used it against y'all, and she's winning.
I hope she stays silent all the way to the debate. That's when everything's gonna come out. Your interview is your interview is gonna be this debate.
Not even that. I think she's running the gamut. Said because this is her win. Said, why talk before DNC? Where after DNC, I get to control the news for 10 more days after that.
That was my response to people who have been asking about that I know that are conservative. I was like, I wouldn't give an interview before the convention. I was like, she's going to ride. We had this question last week where we all said that we thought that this was going to run all the way until election day. Mm-hmm. But they listen to, they have the same talking points. Even the fucking supporters have the talking points. Oh, it's just a honeymoon. She needs an interview to keep the momentum. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. I was like, the press is already covering everything she fucking does. They're tired of listening to the lie man because they don't want to actually fact check him live on air. So they just cover her. So she's getting all of the coverage, and she's answered questions from every network. Because I've listened, I know the voices. I listen to this shit all the time. So when they're asking questions, I know who's talking. I know exactly who's talking. And I was like, the shit is getting so bad for the press for trying to pressure her to do interviews. They even yelling at the damn press secretary. What the fuck you yelling at the press secretary for? She ain't did shit to you. But when you do the full interview with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, oh, everything's calm. You're throwing out softballs. Oh, we got to do interviews. No, you don't have to do interviews. That's an old model. If you want to know what the fuck I'm doing, you can get that shit on my website, on my Twitter page, or at one of my rallies. You hear me talking about policy in the rally. What the fuck I got to answer the question again for? I just told 15, 20, 40,000 people what my policy is. Mm-hmm. I just told you. Why I got to answer the question again? That's old. That's an old model. That's the reason why I put the poll numbers versus real numbers as that's an old model too. I hate the way they do polls. Because who the fuck are they polling? Right. You know what I'm saying?
It could be 500 white people.
I'm just saying you getting back, because I get poll shit all the time. I just never answer. So that means you just send it out, and whoever happens to answer, that's your poll. That's not a real poll.
Yeah, I got this as a super voter today.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some crazy shit. So I agree with you. I agree. She ran game. She beating them at their own game, and now you pissed off because, you know, like Chappelle would say, you know what the shit is. You know, you wanted you know what I'm saying? You wanted some of this and you can't get it. Now you want all the rest of the rewards and you can't get it. You know, you're a white woman following behind a white man. You can't get everything your white man gonna get.
Yeah. And she just was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna talk to y'all. So
yeah.
I think
why?
payback to me. This is payback of karma when they gave Trump all that press in 2015 and 2016 when he didn't deserve it. Because you got to think, and I told people, and I keep forgetting, and y'all remind me. I think it was Showtime, but they made a whole show because of how crazy this shit was with Trump, called The Circus.
Yes, I don't know if it was Showtime or not, but yeah, I remember that.
Right. So they made The Circus, and The Circus, guess what? When Biden got in office, The Circus went away. But now that Trump is running, The Circus is about to come back. So why entertain The Circus when you can't profit from it? She is, you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and take it here. She's just decided she ain't gonna shuck and jive for him, and they don't know how to deal with that.
Man, that's like, dog, we are not a fucking performing monkey.
Yeah, we're not. Like, I'm not shucking and jiving for these networks.
Yeah.
And everybody,
you're not a monkey.
She needs it. The public deserves to hear from her. Well, from what I remember, y'all said she wasn't qualified to run. What I remember, y'all was the one that kept on saying Biden need to drop out. So now that y'all got everything y'all want, it's like, wait, we didn't know J.D. Vance was going to be the eyeliner critter. You know, we didn't know she was actually going to get this kind of support. We thought we was just setting ourselves up for a slam dunk. And now here you are.
Bad. It's so bad. Now you got Trump suing the Department of Justice and the federal government for $115 million because of what he proposed, supposedly raised to run against Joe Biden with that bullshit. Anyway, this conversation was really productive. I like these topics were funny in a way, but sad also because we still have a long way to go. Especially with structurally racist ideology and institution of any kind of oppression and suppression of votes and speech and all this kind of stuff.
That's so many big words that gave me chill and a headache and hurt my stomach at the same time. It's so much going on. Yeah, because it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. But yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. Just joining us every week, just doing this. Because if we don't talk about it, it's not a lot of. We'll end up having been inundated with relationship discussions, bling discussions, business discussions, and the business discussions are always superficial. They're never productive. Or we talking about sports. And I'm so sick of talking about sports because the dominating thing is who's the fucking GOAT, and we can get on that on a whole nother.
Kobe Bryant's the fucking GOAT. Next.
and that's the thing. It's not.
You better not allow a LeBron James fan to catch you saying that Kobe's the GOAT. Anyway,
Kobe's the goddamn GOAT.
No, you know what? We're gonna go past that. All right, because I'm a Kobe fan, so we can go on there all the time. But
I was about to say, unfortunately, we unanimous on that because
I'm a Kobe fan.
If Kobe would be dominating the animation and film world right now, Kobe dominated anything he went into. He was just ultrally focused. I wish I could wake up with that Mamba mentality where I'm just like, I'm about to go in here and send this email and kill it. I could just imagine when Kobe was sending the email, he was like, this email gonna be the game winner. Like everything, he was just intense, bro.
Intense.
I just wish I could carry that kind of intensity. I mean, if I don't miss a lot of things, dog, it ain't a lot of things that made me sad, but losing Bean and Prince damn near ran hand in hand.
That made me sad, man. Kobe, Prince, and Michael Jackson made me sad. All three of those made me sad. That was Michael Jackson was the worst for me because of how it happened. With Prince and Kobe, it hurt me because of the love for him. You get what I'm saying? Like I like Michael Jackson. I grew up on Michael Jackson, but I loved Prince and Kobe.
I was about to say with Bean, for me, it was because of what he was about to do and he was getting into our world of art and creativity.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
It was like a little bit of a motivation because I feel like if he would have, it's like how some people probably felt about opening up strip malls and clothing lines with what's your boy? The rapper. I was just his name was in my head. West Coast rapper Nipsey Hussle, right?
Nipsey Hussle, yeah.
Yeah, I think like how Hussle had that effect.
That was a shame. That was a shame with that too.
I was sad about that because it was like he was just getting going. But for me with Bean, it was like, dog, he had won an Emmy. He was gonna win these awards, and you was gonna get a chance to see this man on the stage. You was gonna get a chance to see him raising his daughters and using that energy to educate other women. He had made girl dad a thing. It was just the impact he was making on a subculture that had nothing to do with sports. And then we missed the storytelling. Like, if they would have got Bean on a podcast on a regular basis, his stories of people having to see him like, dog, you just acted like you hated us, but he's sitting there laughing with them like, dog, I admired you. I hated you because I wanted to learn this move that you did because I was trying to understand your footwork and how you pivot. And you know, I don't know basketball talk like that, but he'd be like, you know, how you pivoted when you pivoted off the block. I had to watch that for 2 days. So it's like that intensity where, as I sent y'all the thing today with Colt 45, at one point when I was making it, I messed up and I was like, nah, that's not what Kobe would do. I had to go find a video. I had to go edit it. I had to go look and do some research.
That shit was live, man.
Yeah.
That shit was live, though. That shit was live as hell.
So it's that we don't have, and to me, he was our age, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was able to look at him and be like, okay, if he still got that intensity, why don't I? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so
think about that same intensity for the humanity question, though. Which is what he was on.
Yeah.
He was on that track.
Yeah.
A lot of his storytelling and how he went about it was all a humanity thing.
It would have been a voice that people couldn't reckon with. He had a voice that would have just made it a whole different level. And I think we've missed
totally
it.
different.
Yeah.
Exactly. Totally different. Y'all got town drunks for the week?
I'm going with I gotta go with everybody that's on a podcast trying to say they're Christian and defend Trump at the same time while bashing people in LGBTQ or people in their personal lives. We just need to get to a point, people. If we're gonna talk politics, let's keep it politics. Quit bringing people's personal life into it because people could dig in on y'all and it'd be a horrible thing. So that's my town drunk.
Yep. Dante?
My alumni. I need for us to come down and do better. And
sounds painful, dog.
And understand that
it did, didn't it?
Yeah, that sounded borderline fucking sad. Like shit.
It's gonna happen, and you know when I see him at the games, and because I'm trying to make it to most of the games this year, the games and homecoming, and they have to explain them to him, and this is what we need to do to galvanize to get us together. Just like we galvanize in the vote for VP Harris, we need to do the same thing for our higher learning institutions so that our children and our nieces and our nephews and people that come after us have somewhere that they can go get an education in a place they can be unapologetic themselves. But anyway, go ahead, your town drunk, because I got some good music to share with you guys.
My town drunk is always old boy from from Missouri. He gonna stay the town drunk. No, not him. Yes, him and Stephen Miller. So always when you ask me that, they always the town drunk for me. But I'm gonna add a new person to the group, and it's Elon Musk because this dude who I have been telling it. Man, I've been telling people about this dude for at least 15 years. People been looking at me like a girl. Man, you just hating because he's smart. Listen, this dude is a fucking hack. And he is for all of us real programming nerds out there, this bitch is not he is not one of us. He is not. Get that shit out your head. Elon Musk is not one of us. He's a person who had means. He used his means to acquire other means to make more means. That's it. There's nothing special about Elon Musk other than his money. That's it. I can get on fucking line. I'm sorry, I'm cussing so much. But I can get online and tell everybody in the world how to make money if I already got 60, 70 billion in my pocket and sound like the brightest motherfucker in the world. I can sit and tell people about their moral compass, and I can be the moral majority if I got all this money in the world, because people are going to sit there and listen to me, knowing, and I know for a fact that I'm not like, you got a transgender son or daughter? What is it? A daughter that's transgender or son?
I don't like them, so I
Do
don't
y'all
really
remember?
answer
It don't matter.
It don't
I think
matter
he
to
has
me.
a transgender kid, and you busy going out here telling about how transgender is going to ruin the world. You got a kid, man. You don't love your kid? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, yeah, I know, I get you. But I'm like, this is some bullshit. Anyway, he's my town drunk, and he's going to stay on the list. So we got Stephen Miller, Andrew Bailey, who's the AG in Missouri for people who don't know him. Stephen Miller is Voldemort for people who don't understand who he is. And now you have Elon Musk. And I don't know what villain he would be. I'm finna give them all villain names at some point, and that's how I'm gonna refer to him. What's the music you got, Dante? You said you got some good music going on.
Yeah, so this past week, a dear friend of mine turned me on to some South African jazz. The group is called Coco Roko. Kokoroko. Go listen to their 2023
You said
album.
Kokoro.
K-O.
Okay. Coco Roko. All right.
South
That
African
rhymes.
jazz. And it's a couple more that I'm gonna share with y'all via text, but go listen to the joint. It's pretty smooth.
Okay. How long they been around?
They only got like 3 albums, but they rock. And Yusef Days,
Okay.
if you into some.
Oh yeah, I already follow Days already. Yeah. I got you with him. Like Yusef. Yusef like he does a lot of stuff with what's old boy, the white kid that does all of the stuff with Masego, FKJ.
Yeah.
He does a lot of stuff with him. Mike, what you got going on?
Jay-Z discography. I had to get my mind right and get back to this money.
Okay, I got you. Ain't nothing wrong with Jay-Z.
The whole discography.
I'm not the biggest fan of Jay-Z, but I like what he does as far as arranging his music. He's whoever he gets to arrange. I don't know if he's doing it himself, but
everybody got a link.
Oh yeah. You said what now? Is it what now?
Everybody got a link to that art. I didn't have had a chance to fully look it up because Dame is trying to sell either the stocks or a Reasonable Doubt album. And
It's
Jay-Z's
the stocks,
like,
and the only thing they got in the stock is the Reasonable Doubt album, and you get to own it to 2031 because eminent domain. It's a new thing where artists get their stuff back after a certain amount of time, where they automatically get their masters returned to them.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have anybody I'm listening to stuff all the time, but I want to give a shout out to the Evangelicals for Harris. I don't know if you guys seen that commercial. But it's basically it starts off with Billy Graham giving a few words about forgiveness, and then they go to that Trump interview where the guy asked him, has he ever asked God for forgiveness? And Trump says he doesn't know if he puts forgiveness in a kind of like a category of things he would ask for, because he don't know if he needs forgiveness or not. The Evangelicals for Harris did that whole commercial. Shout out to them for calling him out on his BS. I'm not evangelical, but if you claim to be of the Christian ilk and you are a grown-ass man of 78, 79 years old, and you don't think you've never asked for forgiveness, that's a problem.
Mind you, he has 31 convictions. He raped, hush money. He still got like another 90 so pending.
Dude. And I'm gonna end it off with hey, I appreciate y'all, man. This has been I Can Drink to That. And we will see y'all next time.
All right, brother.